I want to start off this review by stating that I just don't get the need to slap RGB LEDs on practically everything. Yes, I get it, 16.8 million colors are really cool, but there are just some times that they're incredibly useless, even from a design perspective. Let's take the recent review I did on the Corsair Void headset, where you can't even see the LEDs when you're actually using the dang products because they're on the side of your head. And that leads me to the product that's up for review today, the Corsair M65 RGB laser gaming mouse. So let's get started. So while the intro may have made it seem like I'm against this mouse altogether, that isn't quite the case. The M65 genuinely has a lot of positives. The aluminum unibody design of the mouse is both nice in appearance and also in feel. The M65 is definitely well constructed. In addition to the standard mouse buttons, you'll find a solid metal rubberized scroll wheel which provides definitive tactile response while scrolling. The scroll wheel is followed by the DPI switching buttons, which allow you to switch between the 5 DPI profiles. On the left side of the mouse, you'll find the standard forward and backward buttons, which actually don't stand out too prominently from the curvature of the mouse and make it difficult to accurately hit them consistently. Then below those buttons, you'll find the sniper button, which allows you to temporarily adjust the DPI for any situation that may call for it, which, based on the name, is sniping while playing FPS games, but I more prominently used it for accurately selecting clips while working in Adobe Premiere. On the bottom of the mouse, you'll find the Teflon pads that allow you to glide the mouse across most surfaces, as well as the 3 customizable weights, which add 20.5 grams to the overall mouse weight. Then there's also the laser sensor that can go from 50 to 8,200 DPI. And the mouse is completed with its 1.8 meter braided cable. Once you set up the accompanying Corsair Utility Engine software, each of the 8 buttons on the mouse becomes fully programmable. And you're able to individually adjust each of the DPI settings, including separating the X and Y axis DPI settings. And then finally, in the software, you can adjust the part of the mouse that I've been delaying in this review, the RGB LEDs. And this is actually a source of confusion for me. While all over Corsair's products page and box, it claims that this mouse has 3 RGB lighting zones, but in the utility you can only adjust 2 different zones. Regardless, the zones that are available are the lights on the butt of the mouse, as well as lights in between the scroll wheel. And I just can't understand either of these placements. When I use the mouse, I completely cover up the LEDs on the butt of the mouse and am unable to see them. And then the LEDs around the scroll wheel are so faint that I'm unable to see those as well unless I turn the mouse to face me. The LEDs on the scroll wheel do project to the front of the mouse, but again, the mouse itself covers up this effect. The only light that I'm personally able to see while using this mouse is the DPI light, which is the only light on this mouse that you can't configure to do any sort of RGB effect. Overall, the lighting scheme is just meh. It only looks cool when you're not using the dang thing. Functionality wise though, the mouse has a good weight to it, it's solid and nice to handle. The coarse textured sides and smooth top are good for gripping the mouse, and I had no issues with my hands slipping off the mouse. Unfortunately, the M65 is too small for my hands and my claw grip. My pinky finger ends up hanging off the mouse, which causes some uncomfortable cramping after a long duration of using the mouse. So here's the conclusion that I came to on the M65. It's a mouse that has a lot to offer in the way of adjustments with the Corsair utility. It's 100% a well-built mouse that provides a smooth experience while in use, but the RGB feels more like a gimmick on this mouse since you can hardly ever see the main lighting source when it's in use. And this wouldn't necessarily be a problem except for the fact that the M65 comes with the price tag to match its RGB LED inclusion. At a suggested MSRP of $75 and a current retail price in South Africa of 1,271 Rand, there are plenty of mice on the market that can provide a similar functional experience for quite a bit less money. Overall, I would just have to pass on the Corsair M65 just based on its high price point. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section if you can personally justify the extra expense of the mouse with its RGB lights, or if you like having a mouse that looks good when it's not in use, because personally I don't, but I want to know what you guys think, so leave a comment down below. And with that, I'd like to give a big thank you to Wootware for sponsoring this review on the Corsair M65 RGB laser gaming mouse. Wootware is South Africa's most customer service focused computer hardware retailer. They have a tremendous selection on all of the mice that you could possibly want, as well as anything else that you might need for your gaming rig. So if you're in South Africa, head on over to wootware.co.za to woot up your life. And that's it for my review of the Corsair M65 RGB laser gaming mouse. Like this video if you found it helpful. Dislike it if it was more disappointing than not being able to see the RGB lights on this mouse. Why do I always hit on that? The extra money just doesn't make any sense to me. But regardless, subscribe to stay up to date on all of my tech-related content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully, I won't be harping on how useless RGBs are. Cheers.